Hello, welcome back. This is Grillenheimer. I gotta make this quick, but this is gonna be a little personal and a bit spiritual. About 4 hours and 30 minutes ago or so, about 3:20 this morning, I was having, I guess, a nightmare, but it was a spiritual battle. I've never had anything like this before. There was no hat man or person standing in my bed or anything like that. I wasn't like in a coma or anything. It's possible, had my wife not woken me up, I could have had sleep paralysis. I don't know. I've never had that before. But the dream or nightmare itself, how can I explain this? I remember kind of an amphitheater in a train. I forgot how it all went together, and I kept hearing, and I think it was myself actually, in love with some sort of ghost woman or something weird like that. And I did watch another one of those paranormal things last night, which was interesting. I haven't watched many of them lately, and I forgot which group it was. Who knows if it was real or not, but I'll just say this. In the dream, it came down, it felt like something was on top of me. I was like laying on the ground, not a bed, something. Golly, so I'm starting to miss it again. I don't want to go through that again. I wouldn't want anyone to experience what I experienced. Very similar to something that happened to my mother a few times. I don't want to mention her thing here because it's very personal to her. But it was very similar. There's nothing sexual about this nightmare, but it was over me. It was on top of me. It was formless. It had eyes. It was dark. It was like a mist. And I'm like trying to strangle it, not strangle it, but get it off of me. It did, again, it had no form, but yet I was able to kind of grasp it and try to get it off of me. It was invisible, yet I could see it. Mistful, yet I could sometimes grab a hold of it. And I was trying to push it off of me. It was very scary. Again, I've never had experienced anything like this before. And my wife woke me up. And I looked at my watch because I wear an actual watch on my arm, and I noticed the time was 3:20, and I was just praying. I didn't want to disturb my wife, who may have been trying to go back to sleep, so I was praying in my mind, which is what I do most of the time. I hear that's not good. You need to pray out loud. But I was praying, and I was calling to God and calling to Jesus and asking for protection, reciting the Lord's Prayer in my mind, as well as many other things, and trying to be prayerful, praiseful, thankful, ungrateful, etc., humbling. And I eventually got some more sleep, and I thought originally I didn't have any more dreams, but I think I actually did. And the second one was not a nightmare. It was like I went behind like a church or a school or something, and a friend of mine who's now deceased who was over the finances of a church where I used to play piano at for a short time. Boy, I'm divulging some personal information here. He was there, and he took up this whole piece of like concrete that had writing and stuff on it, but the writing on it didn't seem very significant or symbolic or anything. It was just old, and he put down a new one. Then he did the same thing somewhere over else, like a driveway, and just picked the whole thing up and put a whole thing down. And then I remember being in a room with some people or kids or whatever. But I kind of wonder if part of that was significant in laying a new foundation. And I will admit this, in the nightmare itself, before my wife woke me up, and I'm literally struggling with this female demon, this female entity. One, I knew it was of female gender because there's only two. Two, I knew it was a demon because it felt like it was trying to possess me and take me over. And after I woke up and realized it is July 1st. June is over with. June is Ishtar's month. As Jonathan Kahn has told us and taught us through a lot of his preachings and his books, etc. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, was that Ishtar that I was fighting against? Was this something more demonic and more vile and older than I realized? And I did not invoke Jesus' name. I did not invoke God. I was fighting this thing by myself. Was I winning? I don't know. It almost seemed like a stalemate until my wife woke me up. But apparently I was maybe not crying out in my sleep, but I was doing something enough to wake her up because I was so distressed. And then she woke me up as a result, which was good because I didn't want to be in that position any longer. It was really strange. It was very scary. And I don't really lucid dream. I think I lucid dreamed once or twice a long time ago before my wife and I got married in my apartment. And it's like you kind of have control, but you don't have control. And last night I had no control. If I did have control, I probably would have said his name. I probably would have yelled, Jesus, help me, or God, help me, or Lord, Father, or something. None of that. But it seemed like, this is going to sound really weird, like he was with me. Even though I felt like I was without him. Because if he had not been in me, I would have lost instantly. The struggle would have been gone. And this experience reminds me of Ephesians 6:11. I think it's 6:11 about putting on the full armor of God. I may not have had it all this morning. During that, again, I was asleep. I was dreaming. And it was unusual how in my dream, like I said, I was on my back and I woke up in the bed on my back. That I may have lacked the Word of God, the sword of God. And that's very possible. Am I talking about my shortcomings and my vulnerabilities? Absolutely. Because I don't want that to happen to you. I don't want that to happen to anybody. We have to read the Word of the Lord daily. We need to learn more about it. We need to learn context. We need to learn its history. The more archaeological findings that we find continues to affirm the Bible. And you just have to know where to look, who to follow, etc., etc. And we have to live with the full armor of God. You may have the shield of truth. You may don the helmet and the boots and shod, everything. But without that sword, we will lose every time. We have to have the word of the Lord. And yes, it was a dream. Yes, it was a nightmare. And I thought I was going to wake up with my hair white or something. And maybe it was just signifying my own struggles, but I feel like I was spiritually attacked less than 4 hours ago. Or less than 5 hours ago, actually. With that, praise be to God. No matter what happens here, He's on the throne. We know we win. We know He wins. We have to have Him with us so we can win our individual battles that come across us daily, because we are in a spiritual war. I've known this since the 90s. I saw the writing on the wall back then. It is here now. It's thicker than it's ever been. If you haven't listened to some of Jonathan Cahn's sermons, yes, he's a rabbi, but he believes in Jesus. He believes in the New Testament. He's very knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. Whether you think he's in the right or the wrong, I suggest, if you haven't heard of him, at least listen to some of his sermons. At least listen to the audio of some of his books, like I did. He's got a new one coming out too. And I don't think he's doing this for profit. I really, really don't. I think it's knowledgeable. I think it's things we can take to the spiritual bank to continue to keep spiritual arrows in our quiver. Because every day is new. Every day is our own battle. And today is July the 1st of 2024. And think about what we just went through last week. Trump is still being made fun of. And how can somebody that's lying win a debate? I don't think he's lying. I've been on his side for a while. He's not my favorite person, but I think it's that persona is kind of what we need. And what he did in this last debate hosted by CNN, he followed their rules. He wasn't brash. He didn't bully. And I don't want to get into the word bullying to have to define that for everybody again. He was the one telling Biden not to be childish. Well, Biden was calling him names, and I'm thinking, boy, this is interesting. This is different. And, Trump's not allowed to interrupt him. Oh, we have these special buttons. Bert and Ernie was showing us all that. I didn't want to get politics into this, but it's all connected. It's all connected. We are fighting for the soul of our country. And in just 3 days is Independence Day. In 3 days is July 4th. And the significance of that. Keep Jesus close to your heart. Read the word of the Lord. Grow in spirit. Blessed be the reading of His word. Have a good day. Have a blessed day. We'll see you next time.